Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Enlightened Souls Paranormal Wolfpack podcast here on a beautiful Sunday evening. We've got a great show lined up tonight. We've got some really cool guests. Going to be talking about some cryptids, going to be maybe talking about some ghosts and spirits and ways they do their investigations. And it's going to be pretty cool. But first of all, let's bring on my co-host. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, here is the heavyweight champion of the world, Sean Ellis.
Hello, everyone.
And he doesn't have his belt with him again. Huh?
It's hanging up on the wall upstairs.
Yeah, hanging on the wall. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Had to have a little nap after last night, though.
Oh, dude. I haven't had a chance to get a nap after last night.
I do got to say one thing. Congratulations to you and DOD last night for the largest crowd I have ever seen at an event.
It was amazing, dude. It was amazing.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah. We had probably, 150 kids get on stage with us with their blow up guitars, and microphones. It was a lot of fun. We love, being an inspiration to the kids, by all means. So, hey, Lisa Day Ford, want to say hi. Chris Holt, hi, how you doing? Our guests today, these guys are really cool. They're really cool. So let's bring on a guy who, he's named, I guess I got named after him or something. I don't know. Let's bring on Mark. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay. How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right. And let's bring on your cohort, Mr. Joe. Insane Joe, they call him.
How you doing?
And we're doing good, brother.
Well, I think I got Sean's belt, by the way.
Oh, Sean, it's a challenge. Sean. This match will be for one bout for the Universal Unified Championship.
Actually, it would be title for title.
Title for title. That was awesome.
That's cool. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Mark wants me to have it down here all the time, and I just leave it hanging up on the wall with the rest of my stuff.
Well, yours is probably a replica from the website. Mine I got at Walmart.
Yeah.
It's a kid's toy, more or less.
Mine weighs about 35, 40 pounds.
No, Sean's is an actual belt. He used to do MMA fighting.
Oh yeah. Wow.
And he was the champion where he's at. And he retired as a champion.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Christopher, man, we're doing good, brother.
Hey.
It's one of our team members chiming in on the chat room. So if anybody has questions for our guests, please feel free to chime in on the chat and we'll ask the questions for you.
Yeah.
So what is it that the Mark Joe show, what is it you guys specialize in? What is it you do?
Actually, Facebook hasn't let us change that, so it's actually Insane Asylum.
Oh.
It's the Insane Asylum Podcast on YouTube.
Okay. The Insane Asylum Podcast.
Yeah, there's my website right there.
All right.
It's under utterlyinsaneproductions.com.
There you go.
So, but we got together, let's see, Mark and I have known each other for 25 plus years. And we've got such good chemistry that we tend to make people laugh. And
I understand that.
And we started out one way, and then we went to paranormal in 2019. We haven't looked back.
Yep.
So we've done we don't care what it is. If it's unexplained, we'll explore it. We'll look into it. If the conspiracy theories, we'll look into those too. But the good kind, like Elvis alive or, those kind of things, not the things that can create a lot of trouble for you.
Right.
Right. Like how was he really assassinated? Like, was JFK really assassinated by the one dude or was it something else?
Mhm.
You know, those kind of things. But we
The video I saw was the passenger in the front seat turned around and no.
Well, yeah, seen all kinds of things. Nobody
And
knows
see,
the correct answer.
when I worked at Stateville, there was a guy up there named John Files, and he says he was the shooter from the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
There was, if you watch that tape, you absolutely watch it frame by frame.
Mm-hmm.
The kill shot came from the grassy knoll,
Mm-hmm.
from behind that fence.
Yep.
Because there's no way in hell you're going to get shot in the back of the head and then it's going to explode out in the direction the bullet came from.
Yeah,
Right.
there's no way.
And that's what that shows. If you got the explosion out of the back of the head like that, you have to have an entry somewhere in the front.
Right. Unless
any hunter who has shot a deer knows that the bullet goes in, the bullet comes out.
right.
Well, not always, but it goes in. Sometimes it doesn't come out.
Yeah. Well, unless you're Angelina Jolie and you know how to take the gun and make the bullet curve, and you can.
Yeah, but she's wanted.
Yeah, she's wanted. I was kind of disappointed in that show.
It was a good movie, and it's the way it was done, but I think they could have done it a little bit better.
Yeah. So
We have a
Go ahead.
Crybaby Bridge over by Peoria, but not Crybaby Road. There's
Yeah.
a Chris.
Peoria, Illinois.
yes,
I live
Peoria,
over by
Illinois.
Gil.
I've heard about that.
I live in Galesburg.
So is the Crybaby Bridge in Peoria kind of like the one I've heard of down in that area, where your car, if you park your car in the middle of the bridge, you put powder on the trunk,
Mm-hmm.
it'll move to the other end of the bridge, and you get out and look, and there'll be handprints, so like children's handprints all over the back.
That's the story.
Actually, I've got pictures of my car with handprints on it, and it did
Dude,
roll
really?
back. Yeah,
You got them on your computer.
Okay,
I've
Okay,
got them
now
on
I'm
my
not-
phone.
I'm not trying to be an ass for saying this, but did you wipe your car down prior to putting the powder on there?
Actually, I washed it 2 days before through the car wash, and it was kind of dusty sitting in the garage still. And me and my daughter and a couple of her friends wanted to go there because it's over by Monmouth, Illinois. And
Okay.
we went out there, and they didn't believe it. So we took and powdered down the car, set it in neutral, and they got out. And I just sat there because I didn't want it rolling back because it was my sports car at the time. I didn't want it rolling into something in general.
Right.
And I just put it in neutral, and I just sat there and I rolled the windows down, and they just sat there and watched the car roll back.
Wow.
But yeah, it was really interesting.
We need to try that, Sean.
Yeah,
I'm one of my own worst critics. If I feel that I may have caught something, I try to debunk it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've always done that. We've done that since the start. When we
Yeah,
quit-
but I go extreme trying to debunk
yeah, I
it.
know, but you're anal retentive in many ways. Don't get me started on that. But look how our first investigation, the very first one we did, we were watching other people's videos on it, and right away before we left, no, that can't be right. And we went up there and we debunked theirs. You know, not intending to, because
Yeah.
Mark was filming me and he told me, "Oh, go walk over this way. We'll walk just like that." And sure enough, they thought it was just somebody walking across the field.
Mhm.
I knew from prior experience, because I lived in Madison all my life, most of my life, that where this building was, Sanatorium Hill, there's residential back there behind it, and there's a little forest there and paths that run through and stuff. If you're going to take a shortcut to go get smokes or something from the only 24-hour store that's open, you're going to cut right through there at night. Well, somebody was cutting right through there that night. These guys were filming it. Oh, we got a ghost. We got a ghost. We got a ghost. No, you got somebody actually walking the store probably to get beer. You know, I mean, it's a shortcut because you'd save at least 10 minutes from walking the sidewalks or more.
Yeah.
If you walk the sidewalks from that back area of the neighborhood,
there's a well-known park that's in behind it, and it's a heavily forested park.
Yeah, but it's got trails.
Yes, it does. But I'm saying that's
what it
is
out there.
It's a park.
Yeah, the trail goes. The one trail goes to that church parking lot.
Mm-hmm. And there's a cemetery that's got graves in it from 1600s, 1700s.
Yeah, 1700s, and most of them were children. Most of them were children. This building was a TB hospital back in the days.
Yeah.
Got a lot of history up there. And there's a church next to it that's got a cemetery in back, and it's very eerie back there.
Very dark, actually.
And
even with street lights that are there, it's still a very dark spot to be walking through.
Looks like the darkness just absorbs the light and doesn't let it travel any farther.
Yes. Kind of, yeah.
But it was such an eerie feeling being there in that cemetery where it was mostly children.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
I mean, the oldest one that we figured could have been more than 12.
Yeah, we have a Springdale Cemetery here in Peoria, which is supposed to be the largest cemetery in the state of Illinois. Over 500,000 graves.
Wow.
And it's huge. And there's one part that's Civil War. There's another part that is you're walking down these stairs, an old sidewalk, and to your right is nothing but, like you said, children's graves. There's actually an animal pet cemetery within there.
That's kind of cool.
It is. But there's a young lady back in the early 1900s was walking through the cemetery, and a gentleman who was mentally disturbed was in the cemetery, and he raped her and killed her in the cemetery. And to this day, Mildred Hallmark walks the grounds as a protector of the spirits. And it's pretty cool. Some people have seen her. Sean and I made contact with her one night with an EVP type.
Yeah.
But I've still yet to see the apparition. And of course, they call her the Lady in White. You know.
Oh, that's
and she walks along this fence line where there's a gazebo, and she walks right along that fence line by that gazebo. They said mostly every morning.
I think Dale told us about that one once. One of the many times he was on our show. We know a guy from there, Dale Kazmarek.
Mm-hmm.
Probably heard of him.
Yep.
Then you've made contact with that little boy in the pavilion too.
Adam? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or Noah. Sorry, Noah. Yeah. Noah. The first paranormal team I was in, the gentleman who runs that, he actually has a photograph of me sitting in the gazebo on a bench, and you can clearly see an apparition of a little boy sitting next to me.
Wow.
And
cool.
That's Noah. And yep, I'll go there and I'll set up my little cat balls and my REM pod, and he'll play with the lights and make things happen. And I'll say, "Hey, Noah," and he'll come on and go, "Hi." You know, it's really cool. Yes, Chris. It was like, here he says, it's just like, just like Mr. Voorhees coming out of the basement and going out the back door. Yes. And Jeff's here with us. Jeff Taflin. Hey, Jeff, how you doing? So yeah, there's Springdale has a lot, and they have the Cole family, C-O-L-E. He was one of the founders of the city, actually. And they have a concrete circle wall about 2 feet high, and then all the graves are inside the circle. And they call it the Witches Circle now, because so many teenagers go there with Ouija boards and they do different rituals and things. And yeah. So we've actually made contact with a couple spirits within the Witches Circle, or Cole I call it the Cole family circle. One is a teenager who him and his brother went there. They went there to commit suicide. And they were going to hang, each one was going to hang from this big tree. Well, the one brother went down and he hung, and the other brother seen his brother hanging there, and he freaked out and ran home. So the one brother, he has to.
That never happened.
Well, he has to relive his hanging over and over and over.
Oh, I heard that one before.
And I asked him when I had him on the obelisk, I said, how long do you have to keep hanging yourself? And it came on, it said, until the angel tells me to stop. I was like, damn, is that your purgatory?
Must be.
Yeah, Christopher says, that's what I was just thinking, Mark Lee. Sean Ellis is about the boy at Springdale, Noah. Noah loves everybody. He's cool. What'd you going to say, Sean?
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, that was really interesting because that was the first time I actually been to the Witches Circle. That night you took me, we seen that.
Mm-hmm. And then we went there one other time, and you could clearly see the markings of, I don't want to disgust anybody, but you could see where a small dog like a Chihuahua or something had been sacrificed on the concrete slab.
Yeah, there's like a silhouette.
Yeah, there was a silhouette of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was still some blood on the concrete. We've seen a lot of things down in there. There's a little tunnel that goes under War Memorial Drive. It's by the mausoleum. And if you go into that tunnel, you get a feeling. I mean, it is so heavy in there. And you're like, wow, what is in here? So I've never provoked it. I don't want to provoke it.
He would. He would. He's provoked shit before. He's not shy at doing that.
No, no provoke.
Yeah. I don't go there for that. You know what I mean? It's just my preference.
Well,
I've been scratched. I've been bitten. I've been actually in Manlius. I was thrown across the living room.
Wow.
He got his payback once for being provoked. We went to a place in Iowa, Maxwell, Iowa, called Farrar School. Very old school. Lots of activity in there. The school's like 150 years old or something, but it closed down in the early 2000s or something, finally, or something like this. But we went out there with Dale Kazmarek and his team, and I went in there, and after being in the school about 5 minutes, I had to leave real quick. I started feeling real sick to my stomach. Just entering the school. So I had to leave real quick and get out and get myself focused and stuff. And I went back in. That son of a bitch over there provokes this stuff that's in there. And he got some payback because they sat there and tried to access his laptop. They wouldn't let him. And he was typing in the correct password and everything. And he just stayed locked. It refused to open for him. A lot of his equipment started failing after that.
So what school was that?
Farrar School, Maxwell, Iowa.
Maxwell, Iowa. That ain't too far away.
Yep.
Yeah,
I had five pieces of equipment subsequently fail on me because I provoked.
And then tell them what happened the minute you got home.
It wasn't the minute I got home. It was after I woke up from passing out. No, the following day, I was still a little ticked. Opened up my laptop, went to test to see if I could get in, and it let me on the first try.
One try.
Wow.
And it was the same password I used.
They were playing havoc with him for him provoking them.
Pretty much.
We've got a barbecue house here in Knoxville, Illinois, that's haunted. And we've went there 3 times, set our cameras up, redid the interviews, with the owners and the staff about what they've seen, what they've experienced. Yep. Every time we come back, we put the memory card in the computer to download the videos, and the memory card is empty.
Empty or corrupt?
Yep. I bought new ones and stuck them in.
We had that happen to us too.
Whatever that spirit is in that building, it does not want nothing being recorded and told.
Well, it happens. We found that out when we were out at Ascalon State Park. The first time we were out there, the story behind Ascalon is Indian burial mounds.
There's effigy mounds, and then there's also an Indian burial mound.
There's an Indian burial mound. It's Princess. The Indian princess was buried there, but they dug up her remains. But the other significant thing about this is she also wore belts made out of shells, seashells. But anyway, they dug up her remains, took them down to the Milwaukee Museum. The Native Americans protested and to this day are still protesting to get her remains put back. To this day, they haven't been put back. They're in the basement of that museum in their archives now. But if you stand on her mound, the Indian Princess burial mound, if you stand on that mound and you're looking at the stone there that tells you that it's hers, you'll hear shells behind you, but you'll turn around, you won't see anybody there.
Right.
You'll hear the rattling of the shells. We went out there, we had a lot of activity. Our EMF meter went off. Like it never went off before. And I put it down right where it was going off, on the spot it was going off on these steps around the one of the effigy mounds. It was like wooden steps. I put it down there and we filmed it. Brand new camera, brand new everything. Card, the whole thing was new. Filmed that, to show you how bad that thing was going off. And we get home, everything from that trip was corrupted.
Wow.
Yep.
All our files were corrupted.
Couldn't pull anything off of it.
And since then, I have not seen our EMF meters go off like that to this day yet.
And the best part about it, where we were, there are no power lines.
There was nothing that could have interfered in it. Nothing.
There is not a single power line running overhead or underneath.
Oh, if you think you heard a wolf, it was my dog.
I'm going to say, I think I hear a wolf howling in the back.
That was my dog. I had a purebred Siberian Husky, and she's a diva.
Oh.
So when people arrive, she'll let you know. She's my alarm system.
You do have to realize that the dog only takes after their owner.
Well, my son is here to see how I'm doing after Friday. So,
right.
Normally it's my dog acting up all the time. I've got a purebred Great Pyrenees.
Oh, pretty dog.
Yeah.
He is a pretty boy.
He's about 6 months old and about 45 pounds already.
Wow.
Nice.
Timber Joy is pure white. She's a Siberian Husky, and she's about 7 years old.
And she's a diva.
Spoiled as all hell.
I've got a 120-pound German Shepherd who is, he knows he's a good-looking dog, and he takes advantage of every minute of it. I bought him a $500 and some Tempur-Pedic dog bed. He's not spoiled at all.
Oh, yeah, right.
Not spoiled at all. but he's got to have $6,000 surgery.
Ooh.
Over the winter, we were outside playing, and he had a patch of ice, and both legs went whoop, straight out like Bambi.
Oh,
Ouch.
He pulled an ACL on his right leg, and
oh man.
the cheapest operation I can find is $6,000.
Ouch.
Oh Lord.
Poor
Poor
puppy.
guy.
Yeah, dogs are my favorite. I like dogs. Don't like cats. Don't want one and have no use for them. I invented the catapult.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
I know. I got him.
I was going to say, I sent you those pictures, but
I'm downloading them. That's cool.
that was like when my daughter, these pictures are from like 5.5 years ago, because my daughter was like a junior in high school still. She's in college now. And like I said, her and her friends wanted to go out to Crybaby Bridge. And when we were younger, me and my friends, when we were 16, would go out and walk the trusses of this bridge just because we were all bored. We'd just go out there and hang out and etc. Yeah. And then not far from the bridge, there used to be a barn. And if you looked at the barn at night, right when the moon was coming down, and you could see the background, you can see where the man hung himself in that barn, and they ended up burning it down.
Wow.
So here you're going to see some of the handprints on his car from Crybaby Bridge.
All right, hang on.
Yep.
Those look more like paw prints than hand prints.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to
No,
say.
it's
Look
a
like
handprint.
No, it looks more like paw prints, like something really big with claws.
No. It does. It's a type of hand. It's not really a paw print either. But I was gonna say your car looks like it was damp. Like right here above the tire in this area. It looks like it's damp.
Actually, it was kind of like dusty because we went down a gravel road that night. But
okay.
Yeah, because half the distance when we went down, it's like asphalt, and then you go down this lane for about 3 miles.
And then they get gravel.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we powdered the whole car down, just dumped it all over the place, and then that's just what ended up coming out.
Wow.
is that snow?
No, that's the baby powder we've stuck all over the car.
Well, I was going to say that looks like a Mexican cartel cocaine dealer's car right there.
No, but yeah, we took enough baby powder because I actually wanted to find out too, because I kept hearing the myth all the time I was growing up, and like I said, we used to hang out down there and nobody really ever did it, and then I got with you guys, and I was like, but yeah, but I always kept those pictures from that day.
I'd actually like to go and try that.
They said there's like several different locations that actually happens at. There's like one
the story I heard about that too, about the Crybaby Bridge, is the reason that your car gets pushed off of there is because it's a bridge where a school bus accident happened and the kids died.
Right.
And what that is the kids pushing the car off off the bridge so the accident or another accident doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it would be interesting, and this is my brain, the way it functions with the debunking and everything, to do that and use the baby powder and, the powder and everything. And once you get the handprints, fingerprints, whatever on there, if you got the fingerprints themselves, to take a tape, like packing tape, to transfer it and to see if you can maybe have the fingerprints ran to find out who they belong to.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea. If we go out,
they actually are on file or not.
We need to go out there and do that, Mark, one of these days when we got some time. Take the whole team out and just go.
We can do that.
Like I said, debunking. That's my brain in debunk mode when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah. But I just thought it was interesting that night because that's the first time we've ever put baby powder on a car and actually tried it, even though when we were kids at 16 years old, we'd go out there and walk the trusses and everything else. And
But one of the first things you really want to do, though, because you don't want it contaminated, is to take a clean rag, towel, or whatever, and make sure you wipe it completely down in the back area, so there is no oily smudge from anybody else touching it. So all you have is just a complete wipe down, complete clean, and then put the powder on it, and then have someone standing to the side filming it at the same time.
Yeah.
And one person sitting in the car, in control of it, putting it in neutral, and that way they can apply the brake if need be if anything weird starts happening.
Right. But yeah, it was a very interesting night because, like I said, it was my daughter and a couple of her friends, and I took them out there in the car, and it's like, wow, they never seen that, and I was like, well, because my daughter was just old enough to drive, so I told her, I said, you sit in the car, and we'll do it again, and it did it again. So it was cool. She was like freaking out. It's like, oh, but yeah, but she's actually taking criminal psychology in college. So it'll be interesting when she gets done with that.
She would be someone that might have access to be able to run fingerprints then.
Maybe.
Yep.
So, especially if her professor has ties with any of the law enforcement.
Right. Yeah, because she's going down to Northwestern right now.
So when you guys were at the Farrar Elementary School, what was the most active area of the school?
Oh, that was the boiler room.
The boiler room?
The boiler room was probably the most active. That's where I actually provoked.
Yeah, well, that and that one room, the closer you got to it, the more I got a sense of that it was like evil, bad feeling. You know, it was very eerie, and it's like you don't go in that room.
Which room was that?
It was like the boiler room had 2 or 3 little rooms off the side, and there was just this one room that had 4 walls and nothing else in it. And it was very small, like maybe 6 by 9, you know, like a cell.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing in it. And man, it was just, the presence there was so strong. Wow. But Dale Kazmarek had what was that called again? I keep forgetting.
It's a program that you can put on a laptop and you hook an exterior speaker to it. And it's kind of like the voice boxes, where it scans frequencies for your Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth and all that, to where it'll scan the frequencies to pick up sounds and voices.
The white noise.
It back. No, it's not white noise. There are actual voices that come through.
There was quite a few that night.
I'm trying to remember what it's actually called.
Was it like a plasma box or something?
Phasma box. I think that's what it was called, Phasma box. And it uses the Wi-Fi and everything on the device, the laptop, and it scans the spectrum, and then the sounds come through the speaker. You can hear what sounds like voices speaking.
Wow.
And there was one really angry, you could tell, one really angry male voice that did not want us there.
Well, that's probably because that's the one that got pissed whenever I provoked.
And then, not to mention the gym, Dale was going down into the gym, and he was doing his little video bit of the history of the school. And three of us were upstairs just getting our equipment ready. There was somebody from Dale's team and Mark and I, and we all saw the ball move behind him.
Yep, the basketball that was on the floor behind him
just moved.
Started rolling. It rolled a couple of inches by itself.
Nobody was near to kick it or move it. No wind, nothing.
Yeah. And of course, none of us had our damn equipment. None of us had our cameras out. Because it was right after we got there. Dale and one of his crew, they did a Facebook Live for Dale to be able to kind of explain what the school, about the school and give a little history of it. And they're in the gym at the time, and I actually was like, "Hey, catch that ball! It's rolling." And I don't know if he actually panned down or not, but that would have been cool. That would have been a cool catch on a live stream.
Yeah, it would have been a real cool catch.
We were at a house in Chillicothe, and we were in the basement, and we had a cat ball sitting on a chair, and we were all filming. Everybody got their cameras and everything just set up. And Mark was telling it, move the ball. And I was standing about 3 foot from the chair. And I literally watched this ball roll off the chair.
Yeah, that's so.
And right when it rolled off the chair, or about rolled off the chair, the internet where we were at just went
dropped
out. And it was like, wow.
It's weird how things work, If they don't want you to connect, if they don't want you to catch stuff, you ain't gonna. If they don't want you to record it, you ain't gonna get it. It's like what was that? The mill, Grafton, the mill.
Yep.
I walked downstairs from the third floor. We walked downstairs. It was just Tom and I. And we were walking down, and all of a sudden, one light on a circuit of three. Okay, all three of them should come on. One light just flashed at us about the time we got to it. We had no cameras, nothing to record it with. I was glad that there was someone else that saw it, other than just me, or they would have thought I was crazy because they already think I'm insane as it is. But it's when you don't have that equipment there, that's when you tend to catch the stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I was telling somebody before, until you've actually seen it yourself and seen things happen, you always got those disbelievers.
Well, you always get the disbelievers, but man, we did everything to try to get that light to flicker again. Like that. Like tapped on the wall and tapped on the cord, the metal thing. Did every test we could. Nothing.
Hi, Virgil.
What I did afterwards, though, is Mark and I decided we're going to start. We went out and got body cams after that. So that when we're on an investigation, now everything gets recorded.
Where exactly is this house at, Mark? This Stanford house?
Don't know.
We'll have to ask Lisa about that. Hey.
But we've seen some pretty weird shit happen in the few years that we've been doing this. But I tend to believe because of what I saw back in 1995. Back in 95, I was diagnosed with AML leukemia. Now, here's where the kicker comes in. I was so far gone, and the disease was so far gone, there was no way. They said, nah, you ain't going to live to Christmas. Anyway, I flatlined and died about 5 or 6 times. And one of those times I had the out-of-body experience where I actually saw my mom in the waiting room. She was freaking out, crying, and at the time she had like a bad heart and stuff. So they were giving her a shot because her heart started racing so bad to calm her down. So they were giving her a shot to calm her down. And then I remember being above my body and seeing them use the paddles on me. And meantime, my brother's like, "You can't go. I can't lose you." And my stepdad's there. They're all there. And I remember everything they were saying. But I was watching it at the same time.
So like an out-of-body experience.
It was an out-of-body experience. It's the only way I can explain it. And ever since then, I got an open mind on a lot of things. And it sure did open my eyes to a lot of stuff.
You need to write that location down, Mark. We need to go check that out.
Which one?
It says
in Stafford, Illinois.
Yeah,
I'm all over it. I got the phone number, address. I got it all already up here.
Yeah, that's one of those places. I've heard so many things about so many different places down there in Illinois. Because we know Dale Kismerick, and then there's another gentleman I know that's down there that told me a lot of different things about a lot of stories. And yeah, we got stuff on our bucket list to get to down there yet.
Manlius, Illinois is a really interesting place since the whole town sits on limestone and water.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I want to start. One of the things I want to do is, if possible, I want to go out there to where the St. Valentine's Massacre happened.
Mm-hmm. Down there in Chicago?
Yep. I've always been fascinated by the mafia history. So
Al Capone used to come to my location in Galesburg quite a bit when, all that was going on in the Prohibition time.
Well, yeah, there was a bar in Madison that he used to go to too, right across from the Coliseum. It was called the Wonder Bar. I don't know if that's what it was called back then, but they've got pictures and everything up in there of him being in there and stuff.
When I was younger, it was strange because I lived on a house on Locust Street here in Galesburg, and I get this call from Colorado, and never didn't notice the number, so I picked it up and I started talking, and she's like, "Are you related to so and so?" And I'm like, "Not that I know of." And it was Molly Ellis because my last name's Ellis. And she said, "If you go out on your front porch and look south, there's a brick house down the street." And I was like, "Okay." And I look out and I was like, "Okay, is this the address?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "That's where Molly Ellis used to live." And it was like 4 doors down. I could see it from my front porch at the time. And she says she married the guy that was second in command of the Untouchables. And I was like, wow. And I said, because I really didn't know my great-grandfather's brothers and sisters. I knew of my great-grandfather. I met him when I was younger. But I never knew who all his brothers and sisters was. So I couldn't exactly verify it. And I gave her my address, and she sent me a picture. And I know I gave it to my mom and dad because I circled the picture of the person she was talking about. And it looked just like my great uncle.
Oh.
And it was like weird. And I know I gave it to my mom and dad, and they said they don't know where they put it, but it was crazy. I wish I still had that picture, though.
Well, that's also one of those things that's fascinated me, too. You ever see a picture, somebody show you a picture, or they see a picture, it's like from the Old West or something, say, but it looks like exactly like somebody or somebody, and it's freaky, and it makes people wonder, is there time travelers?
I've been coming across people on the internet like that.
Or was there somebody else, was it like one of that person's that they look like their past life?
Mm-hmm.
Or,
yeah. I've come across some pictures of the internet, and like I said, you got to sit there and kind of dig through the weeds and see if it's hoax or not. But there's some similarities of some things that you just can't explain. It's like,
well,
they look similar, but they're not.
Yeah, I've seen some old pictures that were like not on the internet. They were actual photographs from my, grandpa's younger days around the Greenbush neighborhood and stuff. And it's like, there was some amazing pictures. And it's like, it can't be this person because they weren't born yet, but yet it looks like them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like either it's one hell of a family resemblance because my family is very huge on the one side, or I think it's like either somebody, maybe it was that guy's past life, because it was just too uncanny.
Right.
And it was a real photograph, so it couldn't have been, especially from like, early days for, and you can't take that stuff.
Right.
I've seen.
It's not like digital cameras where you can fake the photograph, put it on a computer, digitally edit and print it out a new one.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures from my mom's side of the family because it's huge. That some people seem like they skip generations and look the same.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's like, my uncle would look like one of my distant cousins, and then it's like,
well,
wow.
I went to school. I remember being in the 5th grade. Yeah, I think it was the 5th grade. I was going to school one day, and all of a sudden the teacher started getting in trouble for something, and it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. She says, I know it was you. I says, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Next thing I know, I'm walking around, and here's a guy, he could be my identical twin, right? Mm-hmm. I walked up to him, and I looked at him, and I'm going, holy fuck. And he's like, holy fuck. And he's like, who are you? And I told him, I said, my name. And I said, who are you? And he says his name was Kurt. Same last name, though. Huh. He had the same last name. He was a cousin, like a 3rd or 4th cousin. But he looked just like him.
Wow.
And
yeah. So I got a couple things on my bucket list. I definitely want to go out to Gettysburg, and I want to go to my grandpa's grave out in Lexington. So I'm a descendant of Robert E. Lee.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's gotta be cool.
Yeah, well, it all depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah, well, it's history.
I know.
To me, it's cool because it's part of history. It doesn't matter what side they were on. I'm not.
History is something that every country has.
Well, I'm sick of them tearing down our history and taking away from us.
Yeah, and just like the MarkJoeShows Insane Asylum, was a beautiful building, and where we're from. But I have to say, man, you look like Willie Nelson. Not to be mean. He's done. All he has
to Should I show her?
Yeah, you should show her.
Yeah, show her. Do it.
Okay, let's see.
This is crazy.
He showed us this previously before the show. Uncanny.
I had to say it. I was like, oh my God. Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Charles Manson's doppelganger right there.
Oh, I was going to say doppelganger. Oh, God. Well, forget Willie Nelson, I guess.
Ride a horse, save a cowboy. Save a horse, ride a cowboy. There you go.
Oh, he's got it on his screensaver thing. Yeah. Wow.
That's
save
pretty
a
interesting.
Horse, ride a cowboy. Love that song.
Heck, we've been at one of Mark's concerts, and one of Mark's fans come up and asked if I lived somewhere else, and they could have swore I lived there in the same place, and I looked just like the person they were talking about. And I'm like, have no clue to who you are.
I would have said, is he as ornery as me?
Yeah.
What I always say. Someone says
Yeah.
that to me.
Well, they do say that everybody has at least 5 doppelgangers in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, mine almost got me arrested.
Well, that'd have been Charles Manson, wouldn't it?
No,
They would have freaked out and ran.
I was working security at a railroad plant, and that, luckily for me, I had an alibi that was foolproof. But one day I'm sitting there after I got off like a 12-hour shift, and these guys come knocking on my door, and it was FBI. My neighbors turned me in because they thought they saw me on Crime Stoppers from a video, and thought I robbed a bank.
Oh my God, that's cool.
Wow.
That was just down the street, and it's like, man, when that bank was robbed, I was over there. You got proof? I said, yeah, check the log books. And I'm a supervisor over there. You know, I answered the door, full uniform, and at that time it included sergeant stripes. I worked for the oldest law enforcement outfit in the world at that time. I was a Pinkerton.
Oh, there you go.
So,
wow.
you know, I held up, you know, no, I didn't do it, officers. Not me. You got the wrong guy. Can anybody verify you were there? Yeah. Thank God second shift was still working, you know.
Right.
Has there ever been a location either one of you has been to that when you've got there, it's just like, no, I can't do this because it's just so heavy, or something's there that's just doesn't want you there? Well,
it's hard for me to say that because it doesn't matter if it feels heavy or something doesn't want me there. I'm going to stay there. I'm stubborn like that.
Well, maybe that's it.
Me and Mark are the same way when it comes to that.
Yeah, we really haven't seen that yet, you know.
No.
It's always an interesting question to ask because you just want to see how other teams deal with certain things when they come onto a scene, you know, and how they deal with it.
Oh, believe me, Joe, I've been known to be like Mark and get in there, and I provoked the hell out of some of these spirits.
Oh, he does too.
Yeah, and I did it that one night. I just hope
my good karma keeps it away from me when he provokes it, and it all bites him in the ass. You know, when he provokes shit.
It ain't gonna bite me though.
Well, it's like the night we were up at Melanie's house, and the little girl's the spirit that was bothering that little girl. Mark provoked it that night.
Yep, I said you don't want that little girl. I says, come on, mother effer, take me, come into me, come into me. Yeah, and it did. And it took Sean a little while to get out.
It knocked Mark backwards. It coming that strong.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But the good news is, since we got rid of that thing, Melanie's daughter, her health has improved greatly.
Good.
You know, it was affecting this little girl.
That's the time we closed a couple portals there as well.
Oh my God.
Our table dancer last night, Mark. Oh yeah. You know, they might have a little more fun for what I left there, but we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah. So, I mean, Barb's had a couple episodes with spirits.
You know, you guys, they're always like, go to the basement. I go by myself. I don't care. They're like, wait, don't go by yourself. I'm like, no, bye. So, yeah.
What's going to bother you?
It just, I don't, it's just like, I don't have fear. I mean, I take it.
You know, there's two things that people have and will exhibit. It's either fight or flight.
Yeah.
I don't have the flight. I've seen too much crap.
Yep.
I've been through too much crap.
I've had too much shit.
I don't have the flight.
I don't have
I will
it.
stand my ground.
I don't have the flight either because
Right.
I've been through too much shit. I've been dead once already. You know, I've survived more than you can imagine as it is. You know, oh, if I can bounce this back, but if I can bounce back this fast after what happened Friday, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, you didn't bounce back too fast with that job we just did.
Huh? Yeah, well, yeah, fucking.
Yeah, Joe, Barb, Joe's the one that had the microstroke.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But he's doing great.
Yeah, you are. Fight.
Yeah,
No, I see color apparitions. I see shadow figures. I've even talked to them. If they make themselves known, I tell people about them.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Joe, when you had that out of body experience, what else did you actually see? I mean, did you see anything besides yourself and what was around? Did you see anything?
Yeah, I mean, it was almost like everything was in detail. I mean, it was kind of hard when I was in the emergency room where you could see those lights that they have over, in the emergency room. But after I got past that, my brother there, that I could see the doctors using the paddle. But I ventured out into the waiting room, and that's where I saw them treating my mom. And knew that there was something going on. And when I came to, and Dwayne, my brother, was still there talking to me and stuff, because he didn't want me to leave and stuff, He's like, I looked and I says, "How is Mom?" She says, "What do you mean, Mom's fine?" I said, "No, don't lie. I know what happened." And he's like, "She's doing fine." But they had to give her a shot because her heart was racing so fast. She had heart problems and stuff. And so, because I was the oldest and what was happening, she was panicking and having one of these attacks that they had to give her a shot, almost like a Valium, something to calm her down, so that she could get calmed down and her heart would slow down. And they were saying, Dwayne was trying to protect me by telling me that she was fine and nothing was happening, but I knew better. I saw it. And sure enough, he eventually confessed, yeah, he gave her a shot and she's doing fine now.
Yeah. I just got a message from one of our teammates, Tammy Christian, that says, "I'm asking for some huge healing for my brother-in-law. He has an aggressive cancerous brain tumor.
Oh, no.
The doctors are pretty sure it's been brought on by the COVID-19 shot and booster he got."
Wow.
I was going to say it's gone now, but you had orange around you, Sean. Your aura. I was like, that's always kind of looking.
You do have an orange aura.
Yes. And it went away and now it's back again.
That's cool. Just like somebody took a crayon and drew orange around you.
I can't see it from my side, but okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Wait till you see the replay.
Because the Guardian's sitting here laying on the floor behind me, so he's not jumping up and down on the chair like he was a little while ago.
Right. So, what's coming up in the future for the Insane Asylum podcast?
Not so sure yet. I mean, obviously, we've been slowed down now until I fully recuperate some more.
Right.
I do have plans. I'm going to be on one more show. I'm not sure when. Talking about cryptids and judging them. but I'll post that on our Facebook page when that happens, and I got the date. We had a location coming up that we were going to too soon. I can't remember. Wife's not sitting across from me anymore to help me answer the questions, but I got plans. I'm not going to sit at home. I'm going to do some traveling.
Well, that's how you do it.
Whether Mark goes with me or not, that's up to him, because I'm not going, he works a lot. I don't work. So, and Mark is like a supervisor type dude. So his schedule gets very unpredictable.
I am a DCM, distribution center manager.
So
I am constantly on call.
Yeah.
Oh, I work with guys like you. I'm a safety manager specialist. They bring us in to.
Hey guys.
They bring us in to make sure their safety managers are doing their job.
Hey, Michelle, what's up?
Not much.
See, I moved my room around.
But I got plans at least to go to Bray Road again. I'm not done with Bray Road.
Okay.
We spent too much time there and end up with more questions than answers. So
I had three. So I'm kind of
done with the Bray Road yet.
Yeah.
So that's one place we'll be going back to. I'm pretty sure we'll be part of the Paranormal Conference again this year. I'm just waiting for information on that. When it gets colder, we'll be going back to having guests all the time. But I plan on investigating anyways. I got a few places in mind. I'm coming you guys' way this year at least. A couple of places. I'm going to probably team up with Dale and make a thing so we can go to the Joliet prison.
That'd be cool.
I've been there many times.
Well, it's on my bucket list.
I mean, I was there when it was in operation. I was a sergeant at Stateville Prison.
Oh, yeah.
I was on the Orange Crush TAC team, and we'd go to Joliet and do shakedowns all the time.
Wow. So, yeah, there's plenty on the bucket list. I'm not going to let this slow me down too much, but I know we're not done with Bray Road yet.
Yeah.
There's too much there. It really is. If anybody knows about the Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, I want to go there so bad.
You know what? Just come to Wisconsin. We got our own here.
Really?
Yeah.
Hook up with us. We'll take you out to Bray Road.
Oh.
We went there just expecting this. The Beast of Bray Road was. We got to thank Linda Godfrey for that, because she's the one that brought it to light for everybody and called it Beast of Bray Road. God rest her soul. She just passed away this year too, or wasn't it last year? Anyway.
It was recent.
Yeah. Anyway, she made it famous, but what everybody didn't come to realize, if you look deeper into it, it's more like the Skinwalker Ranch. There is so much activity that has nothing to do with the Dog Man. I mean, there was stuff there that we saw orbs. We saw.
I actually caught an orb on camera.
And then we saw the bipedal figure that we still don't know what it is for sure. And then the fog that came in and chased us out that night. And there were so many things that it was caught on this guy's trail cam, like UFOs to different cryptid looking figures.
Yeah.
That thing, I think that thing you saw, that one picture you won't like up, I think that's a portal. That purple haze.
Which picture are you talking about, Joe?
The one with the purple haze. I think that's more of a portal because the way it was positioned when we saw it.
You're talking about the one I have? Or that they
The
have?
one he won't come up off of.
Oh, that? No, the one he... No. The one he won't come off of is not a portal. I know exactly what it is.
Well, there's portals there.
There are, but I know what it is, and I know why he won't come off of it, and I don't blame him. It's definitive proof.
Yeah, there's a lot of strange stuff going on that property.
Yeah, the guy's name is Lee Hample. He owns 34 acres of land, and it's not on Bray Road. It's on one of the other roads that run off of Bray. He grows hay out there, and we got to talk with him and do an investigation out there. We had a lot of fun.
So what has he seen? Anything? Has he seen anything himself?
He's got about 200,000 different photos from about 7 different trail cams that he's put on his property.
Wow.
And he gave us a few of them, and they're really, really interesting.
Check out our video on hunting the beast, or hunt for the beast, or whatever. Tanya's got a T-shirt. What do we call that? It was a hunting for the beast. Anyway, it's something like that. Title like that. It was. All the footage edited down into about, what was it, 2 hours? What did it come to finally? Do you remember, Mark?
I think it's just over 2 hours, like a couple minutes over. But it was, our first time out there, we basically interviewed Lee and talked with him. And that was about an 8 hour. That was about 8 hours of footage on camera. And then the second time out there, Dale, because Merritt came with us and we did a night investigation, and we were there from sundown until about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and that's when this heavy mist came in, and it came in fast. It came in with a vengeance,
Fast and
it was wet. It wasn't a dry mist, it was wet.
So we had
so that kind of pushed us to get our equipment picked up so we don't get it, so it didn't get damaged.
That stuff isn't cheap, as you know.
As we're picking up our last parts of our equipment to get it to the car, all of a sudden the mist was gone.
And just prior to that, though, prior to that mist rolling in, though, you can hear Dale and I on camera talking about the bipedal figure in the cornfield. As we lost track of it, we were like, "Where did it go? Where did it go?" And he's like, we think it followed Mark. We think, we think it followed Mark because Mark was walking down the hayfield alongside the cornfield, talking to whatever was in that cornfield, because he said, he didn't hear him at the time. This is what Mark told us when he got back. He said he heard it following him, so he started talking to it, trying to get it to show itself. And you could hear that on his video and stuff in there. It was one of the most interesting evenings times we have ever had out there to date.
Mark's got one of those earphones, or what do you call that? Parabolic.
I got one of those up there. Yep.
And we used that in the Galesburg investigation, and Mark's picked up some pretty good stuff with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we got one of those.
Is yours set up to where you can hook it to a voice recorder, Mark?
Yes. I got some Velcro and taped on the handle on the top, and I put a Zoom H1 on there, and it runs directly into that.
Yep, and then you can record everything that's coming through.
Yep.
Yeah. I did the same thing with ours, where I've got 2 voice recorders that can hook it up to the voice recorder and actually hook it up to the headphones, so you can have a headphone
Virgil,
to hear what's going on too.
What was that?
Virgil was saying, sorry to the guy with the hat. Can't read his name here in Manchester, England.
Oh.
Hope you are all well, buddy. I just said your name.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what they call me on there. And thanks. Oh, that took us a while to come up with that name too.
Insane Joe.
It just made sense because of the way our chemistry
Yeah,
is.
he's just crazy.
Mark and I, we took I'll tell you a quick story. My dog died that I had. It was a family dog that my niece called me after I moved into my house here. She called me about a year, not even a year, a couple months later. She's like, "Oh, Joe, can you take Nitro?" And Nitro was purebred, Siberian Husky. And I said, "Yep, no problem." I already knew I was going to have a problem because I was already alpha male ever since he was a puppy. So it was 2 years, a lot of TLC, got him barking again and stuff. And the next thing I know, he just up and died that quick.
Wow.
I believe somebody was poisoned him because they were afraid of him. And I'll show you why.
That's sad.
Yeah, I believe the same thing. I believe that somebody in his neighborhood poisoned him.
That was Nitro.
Aww.
Okay, sitting on my lap. He was 9 years old at that time,
Oh,
and he was my best friend. Okay, I'm disabled. My wife works, so he kept me company.
Oh, that's
So
so
when he
sad.
passed away, I was heartbroken. My wife saw that, and she got a hold of this husky kennel. 3.5 hour drive. Oh, didn't have to do it myself. Mark volunteered to play chauffeur. I was at a cookout at his house. He was cooking out or something at his place or something, or eating pizza or something that he made. And so he offered to drive. So we go up there and we drive 3.5 hours the whole time. Mark and I sitting in the front seat, my wife and his girlfriend in the back seat, and we got them in stitches laughing. And so they told us, well, we should start a podcast. You guys should start a podcast and stuff.
No, they said we need to put cameras in the car
Yeah.
when we're driving so we can record all this.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and we tried to do the comedy thing at first. Well, that didn't work because, it's better to be spontaneous and then to write or can't do it. It didn't work.
I guess you could say I'm more of an ad lib.
Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, we couldn't come up with the stuff on the fly. It just naturally happened. So that kind of thing didn't work. And then we were pissing people off. We got a negative YouTube subscriber rating. And then we decided to do the paranormal, and we've been getting better and more following, and and
Well, I got history with it too. So.
And it's been a lot of fun ever since then too. I've had more fun doing this than we were pissing people off.
Some people off.
We were. I kid you not. All we had to do was start talking politics and religion.
Oh God, yeah, that's fighting words there.
People didn't want to hear our views. My mother-in-law, before she passed away and before she became my mother-in-law, I spent the night at her house, and it was Sunday morning. She looked at me. She said, "You want to go to church with us?" I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but if I go to church with you, you will believe in spontaneous combustion." She laughed. And when I knew she laughed, I knew we were going to get along after that, because she had a sense of humor. But, I'm not religious. I don't believe in going to church. So I stepped foot in the church. It's either for a wedding or a funeral. That's it. But Yeah, I didn't, we pissed people off. I didn't like it. I lost a few friends because of my views. Well, it happened. Then I didn't like the fact that I smoked pot. Well, too bad. You didn't walk a mile in my shoes. You can't judge me.
Exactly.
But Mark suggested the paranormal. We got together. I've always been fascinated by the paranormal, and it's been a fun ride. I mean, we were part of the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference last year, where we presented for the first time our Beasts of Bray Road footage with Lee Hampel as our guest, and we broadcasted live from the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference. That was the biggest event we had last year.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's really cool.
And the first year before COVID hit, because we started in 2019 just before COVID, we got a few investigations in. We won an award in 2020. Let me see when this is. Everything's on the other side. 2020, we won the award for best podcast in our category.
Cool. That's awesome, guys.
For the Wisconsin Podcast Association.
That's awesome.
So we did made the right move. And I tell you, all the people we've met in the paranormal realm that we've actually met in person have been nothing but fantastic to us. I mean, we were out doing what was it? Witches of Whitewater? Is that what it was, Mark? Witches of Whitewater?
Yep.
You got that right? Okay. We were investigating the Witches of Whitewater. It includes like 3 cemeteries in Whitewater and stuff. And there's a big story behind it. But while we were there, we saw these big fancy trucks and stuff. And it was, what were they called? U.S. Paranormal Team or something like that? Was it? Something like that. They had a big truck.
Yeah.
Handmade equipment.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the name.
They had the guy from Chamber of Commerce there with them. And they were doing a documentary on it. They came up and they gave us all kinds of pointers, and because we were so new at it, and they were giving us pointers and advice and talking to us, and really nice. And everybody we've met like that has been pretty nice.
Yeah, if you guys get down here by where we're at, hell, I'd come up with you guys. I'm sure Mark would too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been a pleasure meeting all these great people, you know, in person. I mean, Dale Kazmarek, I mean, we couldn't ask for a better mentor. You know, a guy that's been doing this and founded the
70s
Society since 1975. You know, come on.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't ask for a better guy. You know. And then we got the T. Kulos out of Milwaukee. You know, really nice guy. You know. And I tell you, it's been fantastic. And I hope it never ends.
Yeah, I've been on this team for just a little over a year now, and I've met people from all around the world doing these podcasts.
Yeah, we've done that too. Yeah,
and you know, there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of great people that's in this field. You know,
we had
Mm-hmm.
what was his name? I gotta get his book. This guy, the author of this book.
you got to lower it down just a little bit.
Ken Gerhard.
Ben Gerhard? Ken Gerhard.
Ken Gerhard. We had him on our podcast. He's the guy you'll see on TV with a metal skull in a cowboy hat. When he comes talking about cryptids on any of those paranormal shows you see on Travel Channel and stuff, they'll always go for Ken Gerhard when they're talking about cryptids.
That's cool.
So, and he was a really nice guy, you know, and probably one of the most famous we ever had on our show.
No,
Yeah.
Virgil, I'd actually like to go over there and do some investigations.
You know, Dale Kazmarek is still another famous guy because he's always on shows when talking about celebrity, all the plane crashes and stuff about the Civil War. They consider him an expert, those networks do.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd actually like to go over to Britain too and do some investigations with some of the old buildings there.
We did interview a couple of ladies from over in England area,
A couple of times.
and they have a lot of areas over there, a lot of places over there that are just so historical and so full of energies that it just. I think it'd be amazing to go over there.
Another place I'd like to go is like Ireland because I'm Irish and I've got history over there. I'd like to go over there where the Celtics were. That'd be very interesting too.
Yeah.
So one of the things maybe you guys could do with this, and I'm still trying to find out who owns the property right now. It's a big field off of O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Back in 1979, it was the worst aviation disaster ever. Flight 191 took off.
I bet I can find out. I bet I can find out more.
Because there's a trailer park right there next to that field, and a lot of people in that trailer park have said that sometimes you look out their windows and you can see full apparitions of people walking out in that field.
The guy we just mentioned, Dale Kazmarek, did a whole thing on that.
Yeah.
I bet he's got access to that property.
Well,
he's investigated it at least twice that I know of.
Yep, I bet he's got access to that property.
Yeah,
and he's been wanting me to come out to his place to see some of his Civil War memorabilia.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been on our show more than anybody.
Yeah.
You know, he and we also did Buddy Holly crash site. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. Oh, that was just so surreal. You know, getting out to that actual crash site. It was unbelievable.
Did you guys get any EVPs or anything from
Yeah,
that?
we did. We did an EVP session, and it was really interesting because the guy, what was his name? Mikey was part of Dale Kazmarek's team. Was doing the playing of the song and the thing, and it's like, can you tell us who's playing this? And he'd play like, you know, like La Bamba or something, and they'd say Richie. You hear the word Richie. It's clear as day. Or the Bopper, or Buddy.
And that was coming through Dale's Phasma box.
Yep.
That would be interesting to hear that.
The funny thing about that whole mess.
Oh, we haven't got that up. I haven't got that one up yet.
The coolest, I guess it's kind of cool. The thing about that whole time that we were there, for Joe's videotaping, Dale and Mikey were videotaping. I had my voice recorder going. My girlfriend had a voice recorder on her, which was one of mine, and it, for some reason, didn't record, but mine did. Out of all the devices that did record audio, mine was the only one that picked up what sounded like a single prop plane in the distance.
Wow. And it wasn't there. Nobody remembers hearing or seeing a plane that day. You know.
Yeah, I actually seen the movie of that. I don't know how close it was, but that whole story was an interesting thing.
Hi, Lori.
But it was so cool. I mean, I'm a big music fan, so it was just an honor to be out there. You know.
That's awesome.
You know, to actually say I was at the crash site where Buddy Holly, you know, the day the music died. You know.
Yeah, that, like I said, I've seen stories about that, you know, and I always thought it was really interesting on the whole thing. And then, you know, to actually hear you guys say you got EVPs from that, that's really cool.
Yeah, and when we realized about the ghost thing, it was afterwards when the ghost plane. It's like, wow. I mean, even Dale was like amazed, you know, because he didn't capture anything like that ever before, and he'd been out there before.
Well, yeah, but also on the other devices that was recording, none of them caught it. Mine was the only one that exhibited that.
And then and if it was real plain, all of them would have caught it.
Yeah, it should have been on all 3 or all 4 devices.
All the cameras that were going.
But
you know, but that was a really cool place to go to, and I got to go back again because it's just kind of fascinating to be there. I think any good investigator, you know, you don't just investigate one place once. You know, because if you might not get nothing the first time, but maybe the second or third time you go out there, you might get something really interesting. You never know. The stories are there for a reason.
That's right.
You know.
So when you guys go out and investigate, what's your favorite piece of equipment to use?
Myself. Because everything else has a tendency of batteries dying, not recording, not capturing. Me, if I can get myself in tune properly, I have a better way of sensing and seeing. And then if I feel something in an area, then I can point the camera in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, I rely on my instincts first. You know, I have, you know, you gotta realize I was in, like a law enforcement type field for quite a while. And I developed kind of a sixth sense over time, you know what I'm saying? So I rely on my gut first and the senses, you know, watching my eyes and my hearing, you know. I'll hear things that some people won't hear. It's like, wait for it. You'll hear it. It's coming. You know, oh, there it is. You know, but I'll hear it before other people do. You know, so I rely on a lot of things because I did that for so long as an investigator and a security officer, and I became a good judge of people and a good judge of character, that when we talk to witnesses, I'm kind of like a human lie detector. I can tell when they're trying to feed me full of bullshit.
Yep, bullshit detector.
Yeah. I mean, my dad was a big bullshit artist his whole life.
Fine.
You know, that helped too. But, you know, after a while, you know, when you're talking to people like I did when I was doing what I was doing for a living, you tend to develop, you know, that thing about people. I can tell if somebody is worth my time within 5 seconds.
Yep.
You know, and sometimes even before I meet them, I see them coming walking towards me or something, and I want to smack the shit out of that fucker.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I can see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
Their body language and their eyes if they're idiots.
Right. So I just rely on my own instincts and gut first, you know, as I'm walking along a place. But I like using the camera a lot, but EVPs in special areas are a must because there's just some things that can't be explained, and you know, and I won't go anywhere. And I don't like doing our investigations anymore without one of us wearing a body cam or both of us wearing our body cams because of all the shit we've got seen, but never recorded.
Oh, that's what happens to us. Or either like they'll shut off our recordings, the
Oh,
spirit,
yeah.
or like we're getting ready and stuff to start recording and something will happen and we'll miss it.
Didn't that happen at one of the houses, one of the private homes, where the camera got shut off?
Yep. And then there was one in Chillicothe. We actually had the ball. They actually pushed the ball off the chair and the reception was crappy. Then all of a sudden, when we went back, it didn't do it. It just froze. We're like, oh, son of a.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had that up at the Baraboo, up in Baraboo.
Yeah, my cousin's house.
His cousin's house. I took my camera upstairs to the attic area. When you go up the stairs, at the top of the stairs, to the left is all the room, and then to the right is like an attic door thing.
Mm-hmm.
You go through, and then it's all unfinished in there, and it goes all the way back. And then there's a ladder you can go up and look at the very, very top of the area that's over the other rooms that go to the left. So I took my tripod and my camera up there, and I have a nice long cord, so I could plug the camera in. So I had it plugged in. And I hit the record button. His cousin watched me. She was there with me. She watched me hit the record button. I go back downstairs. We're using the other camera. We're doing our investigation down there. We got thermal cams. We got that camera. I've got my thermal camera. I'm in the room. I'm doing some sweeps with it. His wife's behind me with their camera recording, and we're doing stuff. And he's in the other room talking to his cousin.
Yeah, I was talking to her and listening to her stories.
Right. It gets to the point where it's about time for us to go home. So I'm like, okay, I got to go up and get my camera. So I go up with my voice recorder. I go upstairs to get my camera. And because what I was going to do is I was literally going to do an EVP before I shut the camera off and see if I can get anything to come out and say anything or show up on the camera or any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I go up. I start the EVP as soon as I get to the top of the stairs. I open the door. I'm starting to talk. I stop in mid-sentence because I'm looking at the camera, and the camera was not recording. It was off.
It didn't record anything.
Wow.
Well, we were at this place called Big Cat's Eatery, and my son, he's a cameraman now, junior investigator, and we got done everything. Our SD cards were wiped, plug in by the mic, and it got unplugged. The camera got unplugged, everything. I mean, they messed with everything. I'm like, oh man.
Yep, if they don't want you to record, you ain't
They
getting
don't
it.
let you.
It ain't happening. But now the interesting thing back about that house, though, they were, when we were there, their neighbor, one of their neighbors came up and wanted us to investigate their house because they said it was haunted activity. But the thing we come to realize, if you look back on the history, it wasn't the houses, it was the land that they were sitting on. That land was where all the houses way back when, the greatest show on earth,
Brothers
Valley Circus. All the freaks were housed there.
Huh.
Way back when.
Wow.
All the freaks were housed there, as they were called back then. And a lot of violence occurred during a lot of times.
So would they stay there like during the off season when they're not performing?
Yes, because the circus, Ringling Brothers and Barnaby Valley Circus owned a lot of that up there.
Oh yeah, they go through all towns too.
They owned a lot of that land in Baraboo at the time.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, how do you say it? The attractions they had in the circus back then.
Well, they got picked on, whatever, disrespected, mistreated, and that bad juju is going to stay there.
Right.
Yep.
Some of them were housed together. You could tell because some of those houses were probably still there, that are there now, that were there back then,
Mm-hmm.
because some of the items that were found were from that era.
Hmm.
You know, there was stuff from the circus itself that we found, that she found in her attic. And there were other items that were dated to that period,
What's
where the circus would have still had freak shows.
What's the most interesting thing that she found that you guys found interesting from that?
There were some newspapers that she found that were dated back in that era.
Yeah.
And I think she actually found a map showing the property itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, but the age of the stuff dated back to the time when the freak shows were a popular thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they always seem to have some really strange attractions back in the day. If I remember some of the things that I've read and seen.
Well, yeah,
some very interesting ones.
And think about the extent that they went to do some of those things. Look at what do they call it? The Fuji mermaid or whatever, where it's like half fish and half monkey body sewn together, you know, and he passed it off as a mermaid.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on, he did some pretty weird shit, you know. And then just some of the people and the abuse that they took because they weren't socially accepted. You know, they didn't fit into the norm. You know, well, too bad for you. You know, they got a heart too. They got they're a person just like you and me. You know, you got to treat them with respect, but they didn't. So that bad juju is left on the land. Because there was I believe there was an atrocity that happened there that was mass covered up by the circus itself.
Good possibility. A lot of abuse of the animals back then. That tends to leave us a mark on things.
True. But it's also interesting to find out the truth, though, and trace it back and find out actually what happened, you know.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but it would be nice to find out the truth, you know. Because the guy came up and he literally was scared.
Mm-hmm.
He said, it bothers me. Sometimes I don't even sleep at night, you know, because of some of the things that happen.
Have you guys actually ran across any Indian land that had any of these issues going as well?
Aslan State Park.
Aslan State Park was the only one that we've ever really gotten any kind of activity at. The second time we went out there, we actually walked the trail, took us down by the river and on one end, and then came back up the other one. And the trail coming back,
been followed by some kind of shadow.
That's the one I seen the shadow figure following us. Yes,
right.
And every time I turned to try and capture it, it wasn't there. But I could see it. I could sense it, and I could see it out the corner of my eye. But because as you're coming back on the trail, the one part of the trail from the river, it's almost like a big curve in the wooded area, and then it comes back out to the open prairie land. So as you're walking along, you're kind of curving back towards, and I just kept seeing movement and a shadowy figure, and I was sensing that there was a presence there. But every time, I'd even be walking with the camera and just kind of peek the camera around my shoulder without ever turning, just kind of peek it around, trying to capture whatever's there. And I never caught anything.
Yeah. I mean, me and Mark's been walking, and even Barb, when she's with us, we've been through some cemeteries that we see shadows from a distance. Mm-hmm. And me and Mark and Barb has all come to the conclusion sometimes those shadows are the guardians of the graves, I think, because of certain people that are around. And they seem to linger. The one place we were at, a lot of them lingered around the kids area, like they were protecting the kids.
We had growling at a cemetery.
Yeah, then there was dogs we saw because there was a pet cemetery.
We didn't see the dog. We heard growling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I can't remember where that was now.
That was Eagle Road Cemetery.
Eagle Road Cemetery.
Now, Decatur, we heard a growling. Remember that? In the gunshots, we smelled the. I smelled the powder.
That's a weird place. Eagle Road Cemetery.
Ooh.
That's a weird cemetery. Very small, secluded, out in the middle of nowhere. And we had the couple of times we were there, we had strange shit happen.
Well, Springdale Cemetery in Peoria, Illinois, that's where we've been, and it's like one of the most haunted cemeteries there is in Illinois.
Yeah, I like how they say that, but you know, how do they know it's the most haunted? There could be
exactly.
One. You know, they say that about Forest Hill Cemetery in Madison. You know, it's the most haunted cemetery in Madison.
You don't get nothing.
Haunted cemetery in Wisconsin. It's actually on a list as the top 10 most haunted cemetery in Wisconsin.
Wasn't it the one in Washington we were at that we got kicked out of, right?
Yeah, it was. It was.
That one, I think that's the one we've had the most activity and the strangest things when we had some of the junior ones we were training at the time.
Yes.
Because they've gotten scratched and we were hearing dogs howling and there was no dogs around and they were whimpering and crying. And we kept seeing shadows from all the place. And we as a team all split up. There's like 3 different groups of us and we all divided up and went our separate ways. And the one that I was with, she was actually getting choked that night. And I had to take some selenite out and cut whatever was bothering her away. And that's, like I said, we were hearing dogs whimper, and there was no dogs even in the location. I'd still like to go back there, but, you know, try to figure out where the dogs were whimpering from because they were coming from the direction that we were going, but there wasn't nothing there. There was just a bunch of graves, but it was a bunch of dogs just sitting there whimpering. No dog pound around, no dogs. And you didn't hear them howling. No reply back from other dogs barking or anything, but they were just like a bunch of dogs crying.
And then we heard and then there was also sounded like children playing or something.
See, that's why I want to go to Illinois. There's so much
Alton,
Illinois. I've heard about Illinois. So many stories I've heard from guests or just friends that I've met through the paranormal world that have lived down there. And it's like, man, you got some interesting places. But, I grew up in Wisconsin and, I had no idea how weird this place was either. You know, you got a place called the Devil's Punch Bowl, for Christ's sake. And there's supposed to be gnomes and fairies there. You know.
I hate gnomes.
Yeah, it's supposedly a portal to the Pharaoh.
And then we got our own Loch Ness monster, and Lake Pepin on the Mississippi River. You know, I want to go out there yet.
There's a place that I'd like to go to, and there's a place I'd like to go to, and Mark's mentioned this before. There's a place called the 13 Gates of Hell.
Oh yeah,
I want to go there.
Oh man,
me too. I've already been kicked out of hell. So
they've got some very, very bizarre stuff that goes on there. They've got like people that hear cars traveling and all sorts of stuff. You turn around and there's nothing there. And They say each part where that at is some type of a portal, is what they say.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to go there and check that out one time.
Yeah, there's
A lot of places.
yeah.
Well, you know what we'll do? We get there, we'll just, like the police will send the canine in first. We send Barb in.
All right.
My first stop though when I go to Illinois, this one of these trips, my first stop when I go to Illinois is Aurora, Illinois. That's my first stop. I gotta find a sign there. You know, the population sign that says that you're in Aurora, Illinois. I gotta find that sign so I can get a picture.
Okay.
You know,
I'm going
you know what
to
that's
jump
from,
off here real quick.
You know why? You know why that's from?
Uh,
One of the greatest movies of all time. I could go down and get my picture taken there. I'll show you.
oh, Blues Brothers?
No.
Wayne's World.
Oh. Wayne's World.
Yeah, but this is an official from the
Wow.
studio, Pat.
Cool.
That was official from the studio. Yeah, no, but I gotta find a dispensary. Illinois is legal. Illinois is legal, and they're carrying the Blues Brothers brand in one of the dispensaries now from the Belushi farm.
Really?
Yeah, Jim Belushi, John's brother, Jim Belushi, owns a farm in Washington State, or is it Oregon State? One of those two. Anyway, he owns a farm where he grows marijuana. And his partner is none other than Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, wow.
So, and Dan Aykroyd says, I'm going to send you on a mission from God. So he sent him to Colombia to look for 3 rare seeds that were worthy enough to have the Blues Brothers label on them. So, I've been watching this on TV. It's a series.
Growing
That's
Belushi.
cool.
Yeah, called Growing Belushi. And he is expanding to all the legal states. And the first state, because by the way, Jim Belushi and his headquarters is located in Chicago, Illinois. He has a penthouse there somewhere.
So it's got to be somewhere in Chicago then.
Yeah, it's in Chicago.
Yeah, the dispensary and stuff, because I didn't hear that. I don't know if all of them do or not.
He started with he's working with one of the dispensaries there, and he's got them with the Blues Brothers label. His corporate headquarters is there, and it's run by anyway, somebody I think it's Hefner's daughter, one of Hefner's daughters, or something like that, or Hugh Hefner's sister or something. She's like the CEO in charge at the corporate office. So he stays in the penthouse. You know, he got locked out on his balcony, of his thing, because he went out there to smoke. He got locked out. Neighbor called the cops, and he's on the fire escape, so that he can't get back in. So he has to climb down the fire escape. He gets to the bathroom, and the cops are like, "Can I have your autograph? Take a picture."
Oh, Lord.
All right, guys. I'm sorry, but I need to get going.
Okay.
I gotta be up at 7:00 in the morning and go to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I see it's getting up close to 9 o'clock now. So.
Oh,
All right. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Joe, Mark, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
And, everybody out there, just be nice to each other. There's enough hatred in the world. We don't need any more. Be kind to everybody. Try to help people out. Be safe. Yep, I agree. So from Enlightened Souls Paranormal, Wolfpack Podcast, I'm Mark.
And I'm Sean.
Bart.
And we see you later next week.
Yep.